Welcome back to Jackson Square. Today we're going to be looking at Teach 6.4b and 6.4e. 6.4b says, I can apply qualitative and quantitative reasoning to solve predictions and comparisons of real-world problems, including ratios and rates. And 6.e says, I can represent ratios and percents with concrete models, fractions, and decimals. So we're going to use our knowledge of ratios and rates and tables, and we're going to jump right into some word problems. So this problem says 30% of the shaded tiles shown in the diagram are needed for our art project. So we're going to highlight 30%, and that's of the shaded tiles shown in the diagram are needed for our art project. What fraction of the total set of tiles is needed for the art project? So there's some specific things that they're telling us. They're telling us that the shaded tiles represent 30%. So I'm going to count the shaded tiles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 shaded tiles, okay? And they say that that's 30%. 30% of the shaded tiles in the diagram are needed. So we don't need all of them for the art project. We only need 30% of the shaded, okay? Then it says what fraction of the total set of tiles is needed. So now I need to find the total set of tiles. So I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 5 across, 6 down. So 5 times 6 is 30. So the total set is 30, okay? So first of all, I need to figure out what is 30% of 10, okay? So what's 30% of 10? So hopefully you remember that 30% in a fraction form is 3 out of 10, right? Because if we set that up to be 100, I would multiply times 10 times 10, and that will give me 30%. Remember, percent is out of 100. So 30% of these tiles we need for the project. That means I would only need 3 out of these 10, okay? So let's say we need these 3. Then it says, what fraction of the total set of tiles is needed for the art project? So remember, a fraction is a part out of a whole, okay? So we want parts out of a whole. So we only need 3 shaded, that's the part. Out of the whole thing, the whole set is 30. Okay? Remember, anytime there's an opportunity to simplify it, we want to simplify it. So 3 and 30, I know, can be simplified by 3. That's the GCF. 3 divided by 3 will give me 1. And 30 divided by 3 will give me 10. So what fraction of the total set of tiles is needed for the art project? That would be 1/10. Take a second, take it in. It says green paint is made by mixing 5 pints of blue paint and 2 pints of yellow paint. How many pints of blue paint are needed to make 28 pints of green paint? So again, let's highlight what we see. They said green paint is made by mixing 5 pints of blue paint with 2 pints of yellow paint, okay? How many pints of blue paint, that's what we're looking for, are needed if there are 28 pints of green paint? So I noticed that there's a ratio, right? There's a ratio of blue to yellow, okay? So we're saying blue to yellow is 5 to 2. 5 to 2, that's blue to yellow. But then there's green. So blue to yellow is a part to part. Okay, we're comparing 2 parts. We're comparing the blue and the yellow together. But then when they come with green, that's the whole thing. Blue and yellow makes a whole. So they're comparing green is our whole, where blue is a part and yellow is a part. How many pints of blue paint are needed if there's so many pints of green? So blue is a part and green is a whole. So they took a part and made a whole. So what we're going to be looking for is a answer. Our answer is going to be a part to whole. Okay, so we're going to use our parts to get the whole. So what do we need to do? So I need to figure out if my blue to yellow is 5 to 2, so my blue would be 5, that's my part, and the whole. So to get my whole, I have to combine the blue and yellow. So 5 plus 2 would give me 7. So that's going to be the ratio that we use in our table, 5 to 7, because you need 5 pints of blue to make 7 pints of green, okay? So blue 5, yellow 2, together those make a whole of green, which is going to be 7. So I'm going to create a chart or a table, start with my basic H chart. I'm going to put blue on top, and I'm going to put green on the bottom, and I'm going to start with my ratio of 5 to 7. So then they asked me if I had 28 green, okay? So I'm just going to do a basic repetition until I get there. So 5 times 2 would give me 10. 7 times 2 would give me 14. 5 times 3 would give me 15. 5 times 3 would give me 15. 7 times 3 would give me 21. 5 times 4 would give me 20. 4 times 7. 5 times 4 would give me 20. Yes, 7 times 4 would give me 28. Okay, so I just did repeated addition. I just kept adding that ratio over and over. Okay, so they said, how many pints of blue paint would I have if I had 28 green? So when I have 28 green, I would have 20 pints of blue. Could I have done this quicker? Yes, I could have set up an H chart and said, what times 7 will give me 28? And I would have said 4. So then I would have said 5 times 4 is 20. But I'm showing you that you could also build upon it by using that same ratio and repeating it, okay? So the answer would be D, 20 pints, okay? Take a second, pull it in. Do you have any questions about how I took that from a part to part to a part to whole? Julie has 8 more white blocks to add into the mosaic shown below. After she adds those, how many shaded blocks will need to be added to the mosaic to keep the same ratio of white to shaded blocks? So it says she wants to add 8 more white blocks, okay? And then we want to keep the ratio of white to shaded blocks. So I'm going to start by creating a table. This time I'm going to do vertical, white to shaded. So how many white do we have right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 white. How many shaded? We have 3. Okay. So Julie wants to add 8 more. Okay. 8 more white. So I'm going to put 8 here. And if she adds 8 more white blocks, what would be the shaded? So I think what I'm going to do is find the unit rate. Okay, how many white blocks to shade it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this by 3. If I divide 3 by 3, that will give me 1. And then if I divide 6 by 3, that will give me 2. So there are 2 white blocks for every 1 shaded block. We can see that, right? 2 white, 1 shaded, 2 white, 1 shaded, 2 white, 1 shaded. Well, what happens if there were 8 white blocks? How many more shaded would I need? So I can see, I can go from 2 to 8. I can go from 2 to 8 by multiplying by 4. Well, remember, whatever I do to one side, I want to do to the other. So if I multiply 1 times 4, that means if I add 8 more white blocks, then I'm going to have to add 4 more shaded blocks because there are 2 more white blocks for every 1 shaded box. So it says after she adds those, how many shaded blocks will need to be added to the mosaic to keep the ratio. So to keep the ratio of 2 to 1, she will have to add 4 more shaded blocks to keep that ratio of 2 to 1. I hope that this helps, that we've seen how we can use ratios and rates with models and with number strings and with tables and with our knowledge of parts to whole to solve problems. Let's go practice. Good luck.